SaaS is better than dead, and in this video I'm gonna show you my 4-step framework to evaluate why you should kill most of your ideas. A few months ago I bought a smart bed for my newborn baby. It's called a Snoo and it costs more than a used Toyota. And I quickly realized that they bolted a subscription onto it. Yeah, a subscription for a bed. It detects when the baby cries and then starts rocking it gently and playing some white noises. Now, it still works even without the subscription, but the whole idea of being pushed to subscribe to the bed with a yearly subscription, even though you're supposed to stop using it after the first 6 months, is why SaaS is dying. Now, I know everyone right now is saying that SaaS is dying, but why? Are chatbots eating up software? Are normies vibe coding their own apps? Maybe, kinda, sorta, but not exactly. That's not the main reason that SaaS is dying. The real reason is something else, something more sinister, and I know it firsthand because it is killing some of my projects. So in this video I'm gonna give you my exact 4-point test of how to evaluate whether you should keep working on something or completely skip it. Section 1, AI. Let's start with the obvious. AI. For a while now, frontier AI CEOs have been telling everybody this. AI will eat up to 60% of SaaS products. By the way, come to think about it, all chatbots are actually paid monthly or per usage subscriptions, so basically they are SaaS. So yeah, chatbots exist, but they didn't really kill software. They killed something else. They killed searching for software. Think about how you use the internet now. You don't really browse the web. You are using a handful of apps from a handful of big companies only to get to the information. And you're even watching this in one of those apps right now. So information either comes to you via content, and in many cases it's pretty clearly ads that we naturally start skipping in our heads, or by asking an LLM in some other kinds of apps. But if a chatbot already solved 80% of your problem, you're likely not going to look somewhere else for the remaining 20% just to be complete. Most people will just assume, okay, I'm gonna be 20% short. Maybe it's not exactly what I want, but it's close enough. It's built into the chatbot I already use, so there is absolutely no need to even look for any other software. So nobody's discovering your product anymore because nobody's leaving the super apps. Telegram, X, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. So are super apps to blame? No. There is a second suspect, and it gets even worse. Everyone vibe codes their products. Okay, vibe coding. If you're on X, you definitely have seen this countless times. My mom just coded her own Uber for horses. Or I replaced all my subscriptions with vibe-coded stuff I did over a single weekend. That is mostly bullshit. Okay, it's not fake exactly, but it's in a way a bubble talking to itself. And we're not talking AI bubble, we're talking tech bubble here. AI bubble is a whole other story. So these regular people that are building their own apps are all friends of the AI bros, so they are AI adjacent. Your dentist is not coding an appointment setting app for himself right now. Trust me. But there is an effect on SaaS because developers used to oversubscribe to different tools. They used to get 20 or 30 different apps just to have the perceived productivity. But here is a vibe trap. And every vibe coder falls for this. Your vibe coded app is not free. Okay, let me say that again. Your vibe coded app is not free. Let me show you with a real example. I built an app and right now it's called Square One. It's a Mac app that allows me to catalog and auto tag my screenshots. So I have a lot of different visual ideas that I'm getting from different sources. I want them all in one place. It uses local on-device LLMs, so there are no servers, there are no costs. I'm selling it for $10 lifetime license. You buy it once and then you own it forever. So here is what it cost me to build it. The API token cost $82. That's already more than 8 copies of the app. But tokens are the cheap part. and everybody's overlooking the next one, your time. I spent 17 hours working on this app, and even at the lower end of my normal rate, that's over $3,000. But okay, I get it. You're probably not billing agency rates yourself. So let's assume that your hour is worth $10, minimum wage category. Well, in that case, you're still over $200 doing an exact copy of this app. So $200 on one side and then $10 lifetime license, you get it, someone did it for you on the other. It doesn't make sense to vibe code this. Here's the truth. If an app costs less than $100 and it has a lifetime license, there is absolutely no sense to do it yourself. The math is not mathing. And I literally put this calculation on the Square One website because I really believe that as we're clearing the doubts with software on landing pages for people, it's beginning to be an increasingly bigger issue where people are thinking, maybe I could vibe code this. And this is exactly how I code this section. But this only works for a lifetime license. $10, but only a single time. Because if Square One was a $10 monthly subscription, then yeah, vibe coders win. And that sort of leads to why SaaS is really dying, because it's neither of these two things. Section 3, greed and overstimulation. So there are two things that actually are killing SaaS. Greed of the developers and overstimulation and exhaustion of the consumers. Let's do greed first, and let's get back to the smart bed example. It's very expensive and it works like magic. You put the baby in and it detects the crying and it moves at the right pacing with the right white noises. So it saves me from exhaustion. A great product. And it is already pretty expensive. So to get it, you pay quite a lot of money. And then somebody at the company thought, how can we loot box it? Maybe let's add a subscription on top of that shit. But my favorite part about the subscription is that it has a yearly plan. A yearly plan for a bed that you're supposed to stop using after the first 6 months of the baby's life. Yeah, sure, it gives you some hints and tips and insights and a chatbot inside, but it's a yearly subscription for a 6-month experience. And it's a pattern. BMW is showing their customers ads for the new Spider-Man movie in the cars that they paid for. Everybody is pushing something down your throat. Even products that don't have any servers or recurring costs are charging a subscription because it seems like that's the only way to make money. And I think I remember exactly when software and shitification started. Remember Adobe? This is Photoshop CS6 in a box. I bought it, it was expensive, and I owned it forever. Well, at least until the next version, because CS7 never came out. Instead, they launched something they call Creative Cloud, which is a paid subscription that ties you to the company forever and installs a lot of crapware that runs in the background and slows down your computer. It's like owning an apartment for years and then somebody comes over and says, yeah, from now on you're paying rent. I hated this, and I found an alternative in the first year. I quit Photoshop basically a year after they announced this subscription, and I switched to Pixelmator. I was already using Sketch for design and I had absolutely no need to subscribe to Adobe's extortion. But the problem is that everybody watched Adobe and watched how so many people started paying that monthly subscription, so everybody's like, if they did it, maybe we should MRR this. But greed is not even the worst part. People are tired, man. Subscription fatigue is bigger than ever. Maybe it's the economy, well, partially it's definitely the economy, but it's just basically everybody's pushing a subscription onto you and you get heavy subscription fatigue. You don't want another subscription. You don't want to be tied to another business. You are questioning all your choices because of that. So you're thinking not twice, but 5 times before getting a new app now. Even this channel is a subscription, but at least it's free, so click the button. But free stuff can be annoying too. So even free apps are not getting enough attention anymore because attention is also currency and we are seriously lacking it. Downloading your app is a cost even at $0 and
ain't nobody got time for that.
And I think we're starting to notice that these apps are not really helping. That productivity through a toolkit is a myth. We all procrastinate and we all have attention spans of a goldfish. And all those apps will change nothing. They'll just make the workflow more chaotic. It's your attention span. And mine. Yeah. And there is no app for that. I'm sorry. Developers got greedy, users are exhausted, and AI is eating up the middle ground. So your apps and my apps are probably noise now. Probably. Okay, how do you know if an app is an exception to this? How do you know if it's valuable and worth pursuing? Let's go through the 4-step process. Every product I work on now needs to get 4 out of 4. If there is an issue somewhere, I try to fix it, but if it's not fixable, I kill it. Number 1 is, does the business model match reality? So it's not about, can we charge a monthly subscription? No, it's about, do we have monthly cost that justifies that subscription? If we do, if there is servers, there is processing, then sure. But if you're just an AI wrapper, it's very hard to defend that. So if you don't have any monthly costs, make a lifetime license under $100 or just kill it. 2. Is there a planned moat? ChatGPT wrappers have no moat, but most other products have none either. We were first to the market is not a moat. We have the best UX design is not a moat either. Right now, a skilled coder can copy these kinds of moats in a weekend. A moat is something that gets stronger the longer you do it. So it's data that nobody else has or has been collecting, it's distribution that nobody else has, or a community that lives inside or around the product. And if you can't define your moat in a single sentence, you don't have one. For example, on Pageformance, we have a year of tracked changes over 4,500 different websites across all categories. Nobody has been tracking all that stuff and all that data, so we are the only place on the internet that has that. That is a moat. On mybubble.fit, we already have almost 300 real people that pay for and meet at real-world events. That is a moat. 3. Is there a proprietary component? It is connected to the previous one, but it doesn't have to be exactly that. Can a vibe coder with a $200 subscription to some AI tool replicate this? It might be a data set. It might be a unique skill that you have and you haven't put it into the chatbots yet. It can be a mix of all of that. It can be a hardware integration. It can be a network of people or years of benchmark data. Plus, if you're not uploading your company secrets to AI models to get a 5% optimization, you might already have something like this. If your entire product is a UI on top of an API of some LLM, you might already just ask ChatGPT to remove your production database for you. It's pretty good at it. Number 4, and this is the most important one, is your idea even useful? And you need to take the exhaustion of users into account. So it can't just be useful, it has to be extremely useful. It has to be so useful that when people hear about it, they start subscribing on the spot instead of telling you, yeah, I'm gonna check it out later and definitely subscribe. For example, my fitness apps were made to solve my own problems, but I have a robust fitness community around me, so I was asking them questions as well. It is consulted with real use cases by real people who are power users of apps like this. So it's 4 questions: business model, moat, proprietary component, and a reason to exist, value. Here is my challenge. Take your product, your SaaS, or something that you're using and run it through these 4 questions and then answer that in the comments. I will reply to the best ones and I will use them to create a guide for you guys to understand how to parse something better and not make the mistakes because they are pretty costly. So is SaaS dead? Yeah, kinda. But yours doesn't have to be. See you next time.